today we have with us Dr. Vaidehi Kumari Gupta, MD, Homeopathy Medical Officer, Government of Bihar, West Chambara, former Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine, Dr. R.B. Singh, Gaya Homeopathy Medical College and Hospital, Bodh Gaya, Bihar. The topic is the Doctrine of Signature. Signature, very important and interesting one. It is very difficult to unveil what is the science behind this signature. Nobody can to disguise what it is. However, homeopathy is a totally practical science. We can capitalize on it. On behalf of IFPH, I am Dr. Vaidehi. You can platform for next 40 minutes. Go up to you. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a warm welcome, and thank you IFPH for giving such a wonderful platform. I'm just sharing my screen.
Yes, okay.
So today's topic is Doctrine of Signature. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. The outward appearance of our body signalizes its special properties, and there is a relationship between the outward qualities of a medicinal object and the disease against which it is effective. Means it doesn't matter whether the medicinal source is a plant kingdom or an animal kingdom or the mineral source, whatever it is, but the way how it appears is very important, because somehow it signifies that it can cure the disease that is quite related to it. Like when we talk about cheridonium, the flower is yellow, the root of the cheridonium is yellow. Likewise, it acts when the skin is yellow, that is jaundice. In the picture, there is a walnut and brain. Walnut looks quite similar to brain. That's why we say that walnuts is used to increase the memory, which acts on brain. So that is doctrine of signature. Meaning, doctrine of signature, where doctrine means theory or belief, and signature is made up of two words, sign and nature. That means science that is given by the mother nature. So overall, doctrine of signature is literally means belief or theory on various signs of nature. How nature reflects its use, like yes, I can treat such thing, I can act on such thing. Doctrine of signature is also called doctrine of similitude, because there is similarity. Like it may be similarity in color, it may be similarity in smell, similarity in taste. So there is similarity. That's why it is called doctrine of similitude. History. It is an old concept found in many European civilizations, and later on it is accepted by various schools of medicine. Although it was used in many schools of medicine, but it was Paracelsus who first advocated, who first promoted doctrine of signature. Doctrine of signature is one of the sources of Materia Medica. There are various sources of Materia Medica, like proving on healthy human being, proving on healthy animals, proving on healthy plant, chemical sources, empirical sources, accidental sources, toxicological sources, clinical observation, and doctrine of signature. So it is a source of Materia Medica. Now I'll discuss medicines one by one. First one is Apis mellifica, that is made from poison of honeybee, and the symptoms of patient is quite similar to the behavior of honeybee. First one is highly jealous creature. The queen bee is the most jealous organism in nature. So Apis male is very much jealous. They used to steal honey from other hives to their hive, so they are quite jealous in nature. It is documented. Likewise, Apis patient is also very jealous and very suspicious in nature. There is a line in Ellen Keynote where it is mentioned elements from jealousy. So there is a problem. They feel jealous, and after their jealousy, the condition is suppressed, which come out as a disease. So in Apis, there is an element from jealousy. Because the Apis is jealous, that's why Apis patient is jealous. In the entire webinar, in the entire slide, the black line indicates the symptom of medicinal substance, and the pink line indicates the symptom of the patient. So next one is temperature of hives are maintained or regulated by fetching drops of water and fanning, which gives a clue regarding the thermal reaction. Like the hives are maintained at a low temperature. And bees are used to make that thing very particular, that it should be in low temperature. They used to fetch water droplets till hives. They used to use fanning by their wings to make the temperature low. It indicates that they don't like it that much heat, they like cold. Like the bee, the apis male personality too doesn't like heat, always prefer cold. So as the apis bee doesn't like heat, likewise apis male personality also don't like heat. They always prefer cold. In Ellen keynote, mortality is mentioned, aggravated by warmed and heated rooms and emanated by washing or moistening the part in cold water. So when the person enter in a warm room, they get aggravated, and when they wash their skin or they keep moist with cold water, they feel relieved. Next one is a bee has 1,000 eyes. Bee has a compound eye. There are multiple lenses that makes the image. Likewise, apis patient are mentally sharp, noticing everything around them. They are quite a keen observer. They used to think differently. They used to think at multiple aspects. That's why as the bee has compound eye, there has thousands eyes. Likewise, the thought of person is also in thousands of directions. Bee stings. The bee used to protect themselves, protect their hives by stinging the person. Likewise, patients have quick temper which may burst out like a sting. The person is quick tempered. They used to burst, they used to say such a severe thing that feels like a sting to the person to whom they talk. Like when they are in anger, when they burst out, it feels like a sting. So as the bee sting, likewise the patient also behave like it stings. Bees are busy and industrious, always moving from flower to flower. So it is a saying, busy like a bee. Likewise, bees are quite busy. They are just roaming from one flower to another flower to collect the nectar and convert it into the honey in the hives. So they are very busy. They are very industrious. They are very laborious. Likewise, the apis person is also very laborious. They are very busy. Their primary attention is on their day-to-day life, their domestic situation, work, and practical manners. So they are quite involved in their domestic situation. They are quite involved in their work, and they take it very seriously. They are very industrious. Next one is, chemically the bee contain formic acid, which on a sting produce from mild inflammatory response to a life-threatening response. So the sting of the bee is contains formic acid, like red ant also contains formic acid, and there is also inflammation. Likewise, here also there is inflammation. It may range from mild inflammation till life-threatening response. Like in case of anaphylactic shock, there is life-threatening responses. It also occurs in apis case. Likewise, apis male patient also has acute inflammatory reaction characterized by burning because there is heat sensation, stinging because the bee stings, so the tendency of the pain, the sensation of the pain is also stinging, and edematous swelling. In Kent Materia Medica, it is mentioned violence and rapidity. The complaints of apis are attended with violence and rapidity. They come with great rapidity, rush on with violence until consciousness. Means after a single sting, it can be that much affect the patient that it may be unconsciousness. Normally, when the bee stings, it affects a particular area like in hand, in leg, on face, likewise, and there is a swelling which may be marked as a size of a egg, like a robin egg. But in case of apis, it is very severe. When you meet one who is sensitive to sting of the honeybee, and if he gets one little sting on any place in the body, he comes down with nausea and anxiety that makes him feel that he is dying. He feels so much nausea, vomiting like tendency. He is that much anxious that he thinks that he will die by just mere a bite of a bee. And in about 10 minutes, he is covered with urticaria from head to foot. Although the bee stings at a certain point, the symptom will be generalized. It will be like urticaria like symptom from head to foot. So it will be generalized. He stings and burns and wants to be bathed in cold water because it doesn't like heat. That's why he want to be bathed by cold water. He fears that he will die if something is not done to mitigate his suffering, and he thinks that he will die if his suffering will not be mitigated or decreased. So this is apis that is very violent. Next one is Bryannia alba. Prepared from the root, the roots are fleshy, bitter in taste with nauseating smell, very rough, acidic and yellowish white in color. Bryannia is made up from root, and the root are used to be fleshy. They are thick, bitter in taste. The smell is nauseating. They are rough, and the nature is acidic, and they are yellowish white in color. Likewise, the same thing is present in patient. The patient is fleshy with bitter taste in mouth, yellow white coated tongue, and all the discharges are acrid or irritating. Next one is the harder the exterior, the longer they can be put aside for times of hardship and shortage. So they can be stored for their nutritional value. The fruits are very large, the roots are very large, so they can be stored for the nutritional purpose. And when in case of shortage, they can be used. So just like they store the nutritional value and sweetness of life for future uses, the patient also store the bitterness of their deception and indignation. So the person is quite remembers all the bitterness of their life. They don't forget the betrayal, they don't forget the deception, they don't forget the insult, the indignation. They always keep that bitterness in them, because Bryannia has a tendency to store. Likewise, the Bryannia patient also store that bitterness that he has ever experienced in his life. There is a line in Ellen Keynote, elements from chagrin, mortification and anger. And after all these things like reserved displeasure, the insult, they used to keep calm and keep mum, and this thing just built again and again. He used to brood these things, and after that the disease will appear because of the indignation. The more fruits we pick from them, the more they will grow. Bryannia belongs to Cucurbitaceae family, and they are quite productive. And as much as we can pick the fruit from the plant, more and more fruit will appear. Likewise, this is seen in mental as productivity. Mentally, they are quite productive. Mentally, they are quite active, laborious. They can do lots of things. They can be mentally productive, and they don't get tired by the mental labor. The huge fruits and root represent storage for future need. As its root are quite thick, its fruits are quite large. Likewise, people are willing to share their savings with others and can look at it as an investment for the future, when their generosity or hard work will be rewarded. So they believe in saving, but whenever someone need that saving, they used to invest it. They used to give that certain amount to the particular person who needs it, and they see it as an investment, that yes, I am investing on such thing, and they see it as a future perspective, and they also think that it will return for the sake of their generosity and the hard work. Also, Bryannia is very business minded. They used to think about the investment. That's why they think that it is an investment. Next one is plants grow over large distances, but they receive all the juice that is stored in their many fruits from one root. As the fruit is very large, they can cover a large area on land, but although it covers a large area, the whole plant takes its nutrition, its water from the single root, which is quite specific. And likewise, the Bryannia patient, they travel out into the world, do not settle, but keep in contact with and stay dependent on the original root, their home. So they like traveling, they travel entire world, but they don't settle there. They always want to be dependent on their home, they always want to come to their home, they always want to be connected to their home. So there is a difference, like they desire to travel, and also there is homesickness. Next one is Carbo Vegetabilis. The burning of wood is devoid of oxygen while preparing wood charcoal. Normally, when we talk about combustion, combustion is of two types: complete combustion and incomplete combustion. When there is abundant of oxygen, when there is sufficient oxygen, a hydrocarbon burns into CO2 and H2O, and there will be no residue. But when there is incomplete combustion, when there is devoid of oxygen, scarcity of oxygen, carbon dioxide will be formed, carbon monoxide will be formed, some H2O molecule will be formed, and carbon, that is charcoal, it will be formed. So charcoal is the result of incomplete combustion. So charcoal represents scarcity of oxygen. That's why the burning of wood is devoid of oxygen while preparing wood charcoal. So the wood charcoal itself indicates that there is a scarcity of oxygen. Likewise, the patient never gets sufficient oxygen and hence it is cyanosed. So carbo-based patient has cyanosis, there is bluish discoloration of skin because there is scarcity of oxygen. There is a line in boric, disintegration and imperfect oxidation is the keynote of this remedy. So imperfect oxidation yani devoid of oxygen is the keynote of carbo vegetables. Next one is the wood charcoal is black. Likewise, because it is the charcoal quite similar to coal which is black. Likewise, the patient looks bluish black due to cyanosis. So because of cyanosis they are quite bluish, quite blackish. So as the coal is blackish, the person will also appears like a charcoal or blackish coloration. While charcoal burns, the fumes go upward. Likewise, very similar to the patient when gas is accumulated in upper abdomen and relieved by belching. So whenever we burn the charcoal, the fumes go upward, the smoke go upwards. Likewise, in carbo waste, the gas is accumulated in upper abdomen and it will be relieved by belching. Like it will go upward, then the patient will be relieved when the gas will move upward and it escapes from the GIT through the belching. So there is tendency to move upward. Likewise, the smoke of carbo waste, it has tendency to go upward. To ignite wood charcoal, fanning is required. Whenever we want to burn that coal or charcoal, we require fanning because during fanning, it will ignite more efficiently because there will be more oxygen, then it will burn efficiently. Likewise, the patient who also wants fanning from very near. So fanning is important. Person wants fanning from very close place because charcoal needs fanning to burn. Likewise, the patient wants fanning to survive. After burning, the charcoal looks cold externally but warm inside. Whenever we burn charcoal and after burning after long time, we see that there is no smoke coming from the charcoal. And but when we remove a layer from that charcoal, we can see there is warmth inside, there is heat inside. So although it looks cold externally, but it is warm inside. Likewise, the patient is also externally cold and internally hot, which is a contradictory symptom. Like they are quite cold outside and they feel hot inside. There is a line in a section in Kent's Materia Medica. Running through the remedy, there is burning. So burning is very important in carbo waste. Burning in the veins, burning in capillaries, burning in head, itching and burning of skin, burning in inflamed parts, internal burning and external coldness. That is contradictory. Burning is internally there is burning sensation and externally there is coldness. Coldness with feeble circulation, with feeble heart, icy coldness. Icy coldness is very important in carbo waste. Hands and feet cold and dry or cold and moist. Knees cold, nose cold, ears cold, tongue cold, coldness in the stomach with burning, fainting, covered all over with a cold sweat as in collapse. Collapse with cold breath, cold tongue, cold face, looks like cadaver, it looks like a dead body because it's quite cold like a cadaver. In all these conditions of coldness, the patient wants to be fanned. Although the person looks cold, the surface, the skin is cold, but still the patient wants fanning because he is feeling burning sensation from inside. That's why he wants fanning. So this one is also contradictory, that the skin of the person is cold but he wants fanning. Next one is colchicum autumnale. Colchicum is made from herb meadow saffron. Common name of colchicum is meadow saffron because it looks like saffron. A member of Liliaceae family, lilies are among the first flowers to bloom in early spring. Meadow saffron blooms in autumn at a time in which other lilies and most flowers are drying. So colchicum, which looks like saffron, it is from Liliaceae family, and the lilies used to bloom in spring. In fact, all flowering plants, most of the flowering plants used to bloom in spring and they got disappear during autumn. But there is an exception in colchicum autumnale. Here it blooms in autumn. When all the flowers are dying, then they bloom. That's why colchicum has name colchicum autumnale because it blooms in autumn. Similarly, people who need colchicum experience an aggravation of their symptom in autumn. As the medicine is more active in autumn, Likewise, the symptom of colchicum is also more active during autumn. That's why there is aggravation in autumn. Colchicum autumnale is also called autumn crocus because it blooms in autumn, and crocus is scientific name of saffron because it looks like saffron. That's why it is also called autumn crocus. Digitalis purpurea. Because its flowers are adorned with blood colored dots, we can see that there are blood colored dots on the petals of the flower which looks like blood. Likewise, it can be used in blood dyscrasia, any sort of blood disorder like leukopenia, cytopenia, anemia, or anything else that is related to blood. It can be used in such conditions as well as conditions of blood vessels. So it is used in blood dyscrasia as well as diseases of blood vessels because there is blood like spots on the petals of digitalis. Erythritis hesophilia, which is also called pilewort. Its roots look like the hemorrhoids, like distended rectal vein. Hemorrhoids also have the rectal veins are quite distended, which looks like this. So the roots look like hemorrhoids. That indicates that it can cure hemorrhoids. That is doctrine of signature. The way it appears, it looks like hemorrhoids and it cures hemorrhoids. That's why this plant is also called pilewort. Hypericum. Flowers show black colored dark glands at the edges of the petals. So the flower and the petals has black dots at the edges of the petal. This is a zoomed picture. Black colored dark glands at the edges of the petal. That signifies the skin. These dots signifies the pores of the skin. The small holes resemble all the pores of the skin and are thus useful for all pains and wound of the skin. So hypericum is very important for skin, especially for the pain or the wounds of the skin because it looks like a skin. Its black dots reflects the pores of the skin. Also, it has red juice that is used in hemorrhage. Whenever we smash the bud or the petals, we can see that the red juice is coming from the flower, which indicates that it can be used in hemorrhage as well. Red staining liquid from a hypericum flower bud. So whenever we smash the flower bud, the red liquid that quite looks like blood, it indicates that it can be used in case of hemorrhage. That's why hypericum is used in hemorrhage. Lachesis. One cannot make a knot of living snake, it slips. Although lachesis snake is very long, but whenever we try to make a knot on the snake, it will slip. Likewise, the lachesis patient cannot tolerate light bandaging or the clothing. As it slips, it can't tolerate any bandage. Likewise, lachesis snake also can't tolerate any bandage, any tight bandage, especially around the neck and waist. On holding at its tongue, it moves upward. Likewise, symptoms go from below upward. Whenever we hold the snake from its tongue or from its head, it will move upward. Likewise, the symptoms of lachesis also grow from below to upward. The snake starts moving and loses its skin in spring. So during a spring they are quite active. They used to move about, while in winter they are in rest position. So while in spring they are quite active, they move, they lose skin. Lose skin means new skin will appear. As the new skin will appear in snake, likewise the symptoms reappear in spring. Like in case of chronic cases, the during spring all the complaints will be aggravated. Just opposite, it remains curled in the winter and wakes up in the spring. The snake used to curl in winter, and likewise as the snake is not that much active in winter, all the symptoms disappear in winter season. So when in lachesis the symptoms appear in spring season or reappear in spring season and it get disappear during winter season. Lachesis snake is fretful, suspicious. So it is also documented that lachesis snake is very fretful, very suspicious. Likewise, the patient of lachesis is also same. They are also very suspicious. There is a line in Boric, suspicious nightly delusion of fire. So they are quite suspicious. It is said that the snake is revengeful. Similarly, the patient is vindictive. So as we see in the movies etc., that the snake is quite revengeful. They really believe in revenge. Likewise, legacy's patient is also very vindictive. They also want revenge. Snake doesn't tolerate anybody coming near. They don't want anybody near them. They don't want any close contact from anyone. They are quite sensitive about it. Likewise, the patient is hypersensitive. They don't want to. They don't want anyone near them. They are quite hypersensitive in temperature thing, in thermal reaction. Like they can't tolerate the extreme. They can't tolerate extreme heat. They can't tolerate extreme cold. They are that much hypersensitive. The snake always protrudes its bifurcated tongue, which trembles. The tongue of a snake is bifurcated and they used to trembles. This is bifurcated tongue. Likewise, there is a bifurcated streak on the tongue of legacy's patient, which is quite black in color. Patient also protrudes tongue all the time with a bifurcated black streak in the middle. So there is a tendency of patient to protrude their tongue all the time, and there is a black streak in the middle of the tongue which is bifurcated, which is divided into two ways. Tongue constantly waggles at its move. As the legacy snake moves, his tongue constantly waggles, constantly moves. Likewise, the legacy's person is loquacious. They are very much talkative. At the same time, their waggling tongue sometimes causes them to tongue tied, leads them to stammer or stutter. So they talk a lot. They just love talking, and during that thing, they talk so much that they may stammer, they may stutter, they take time to pronunciate certain word. So stammer is also in legacies. There is a line in Ellen keynote: great loquacity wants to talk all the time, jumps from one idea to another, one word often leads into another story. So they are very much talkative. They just love to talk. They just want to talk all the time. They just jumps from one idea to another. Once they are talking about certain thing, at the next second they are discussing some other thing. So they are that much talkative. Whenever you give a single word, they can give an entire lecture on that word. So they are quite a storyteller. They are also nocturnal and therefore hunts and feeds during night. Lexis are nocturnal. They are more active during night. They hunts during night and feeds during night. Likewise, Lexis people can stay up throughout the night without getting tired. So they don't get tired that much. Like brainier person are quite mentally productive. They are quite mentally active. They don't get devastated. They don't get tired in mental work. Here they are not tired during night. There is a line in Boric: mental labor best performed at night, because they are very active during night. Their mind is quite active during night, because the legacy snake is active during night. That's why legacy patient is also active during night. The stools of a snake are black and offensive. So likewise, as the stool is black and offensive, similarly all discharges are dark and offensive. Like especially hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is dark, offensive. Stool is offensive. Stool hard, black and foul smelling. Just like legacy snake, the stool of legacy patient is also dark and foul smelling. This powerful snake swallows its meal whole. The snake used to engulf his prey completely, entirely as a whole. Similarly, the person who needs legacies experience pain and have difficulty swallowing empty, but emulated swallowing food. So whenever legacy person swallow food, they don't get any sort of trouble. They are quite emulated. But when there is empty swelling, when they are just swelling saliva, it is painful. Normally, when a person is suffering from some throat complaint, whenever they engulf something, there will be pain, there will be dysphagia, and when they will not engulf something, they will not swallow anything, there will be no pain. But here it is contradictory in legacies, that when they swallow, they feel relieved, when they don't swallow, they feel painful. Snake moves in zigzag manner. So there are patterns of snakes. Some used to move in straight way, some used to move in zigzag manner. Legacies moves in zigzag manner. Likewise, thinking of patient is never straight but always in zigzag manner. Like as they are very loquacious, they used to move from one point to another, one topic to another. Likewise, their thought is also in zigzag manner. It attracts its prey and drops its jaw, which then rotates from left to right, and its 400 or more ribs move in a left to right rotation when it swallows its prey. So whenever they attack on its prey, whenever they strike on the prey, they used to move their head from left to right direction. Likewise, whenever they swallow that prey, his 400 or more ribs used to move from left to right rotation. Likewise, legacy is also a left-sided medicine. From left, either they are left-sided or the complaint go from left to right. So people who need legacies tend to have symptoms on the left side or that begin on the left side and then move to the right side. Comparing other Ophidia group, symptoms of the Ophidia group or snake group are preceded from left to right. So all the snake group medicines have tendency from left to right, but there are two exceptions except Cotellus and Elapscore that they are right sided. So when we talk about Lachesis, Vipera, Bothrops, Naza, they are left sided remedy, but Cotellus and Elaps is right sided remedy. Warm blooded and avoids sunlight and heat, going underground or to a higher elevation where it is cooler. Because Lachesis is a reptile, so there is a tendency of reptile to go for, like basking word is used for reptile, like whenever they want heat they used to go in the sun and after that they come back. Likewise, when there is cold they just want to be, when there is excessive heat they want to be in a cooler place. Likewise, Lachesis people are warm blooded, especially during illness. Patient is aggravated in the heat and likes to have indirect fanning from longer distance. So Lachesis person also are warm blooded, they don't like heat, they are aggravated by heat and they also want fanning. In Carboways they want fanning from close distance, but in because there is excessive burning sensation from inside, in Lachesis they want fanning from longer distance because they are very hypersensitive, they don't want anyone to come near them, that's why they want fanning from long distance. Extremely fast can strike so fast that they may appear as one single strike will actually be 3 or more strikes. They are very active, they are very fast. From naked eye we see that a snake has attacked its prey, we see it a single attack, but it is actually 3 or more attack. It is that much fast that our eye cannot capture that event. Likewise, the Lachesis person is very known for that activeness, the fast thing, like they walk fast, they talk fast, have rapid thoughts and quick comprehension. So Lachesis patient used to walk very rapidly, they used to talk very rapidly, they are very loquacious, the tongue tied thing, the stammer stutter thing, so they talk very fast, they have rapid thoughts, like they are just moving one thought to another thought, so there is rapid thought and also there is quick comprehension, they used to comprehend, they used to understand things very rapidly. Heavy musculature making it almost resistant to predators. Its only vulnerable place is its jaw and neck area. When it is grabbed by neck, the snake will thrash around trying to get loose in the process. However, he may break his neck. So overall, Lachesis snake is very strong with a heavy musculature, but neck area, the jaw area is very vulnerable. It is its weakest point. So whenever the snake is grabbed by its neck, they feel helpless and they just want to just get loose from that hold, and during that thing they used to break his neck because it is that much vulnerable. Likewise, the Lachesis person is also vulnerable in the neck, jaw and throat area. They get many throat symptoms like tonsillitis, diphtheria, and they are so sensitive in the region that they cannot stand to have anything around neck, even not clothing. So they don't want any sort of clothing, they just want to lose the collar, and they don't even want touch of cloth near their neck. They are that much sensitive in their neck region. It is also known for its high sexual energy. Surprisingly enough, homosexuality among them have been documented. So Lachesis person have high sexual energy and they are also homosexual. Likewise, it is therefore no surprise that Lachesis is one of the few homeopathic remedies known for its homosexuality. So for homosexuality, Lachesis is also mentioned in Kentriperty. In Kentriperty, there are two rubrics that indicates that Lachesis is homosexual. Men have women aversion to. So men have aversion to women. Here Lachesis medicine is present. Another rubric is love with one of her own sex, that is also homosexuality, where also Lachesis is present. So all these two rubrics indicates that Lachesis is homosexual. Natrium or salt. Natrium, in this column we can see there are 3 rows. First one is for the typical table salt, natrium. Second one is natrium melter, and the third one is natrium physical. In the first row, salt occurs in crystalline form by the bonding of the sodium and chloride with each other. So solids are of two types, amorphous and crystalline. Natrium is crystalline solid, which is made up of chlorine and sodium. That crystallization is also present in natrium mental as well as natrium physical. In mental, there is blockage of healthy flow of emotions get crystallized. They become bound to their grief and brood. So there is a crystallization in their thought process. They used to feel the grief, like whenever they have experienced grief, they used to brood about it again and again. So there is a crystallization. It is a hypothetical crystallization, mentally crystallization in their thought. In physical, metabolic crystallization causes stagnation in organ and fluid, represented by choking throughout complaint. In physical, there is stagnation, the stoppage of flow of fluid in the organ, and choking is also present in natrium. Salt adds life to food when it blends with it. So when we cook a salty food and we used to forget the salt, there are lots of spices, there are lots of ingredients, but when the salt is absent, which are meant to be there, the food will be tasteless. Likewise, because the salt gives life to the food, likewise natrium person is also very interesting. They are quite optimistic, they are very cheerful, creative, they find life tasteful as the salt gives life to taste to the food. Likewise, natrium also feel that their life is very tasteful. In physical, there is craving for salt, that is excessive desire of salt. They used to eat salty food. They used to take extra salt while eating. When there is a family of 7 or 8 people, he is this natrium. Other people won't want any sort of extra salt, but natrium will always ask for extra salt. That is natrium. The sea from which the salt is obtained produces waves during evaporation of salt. So salt is collected from sea. The sea has waves. Likewise, the oscillation is also present in natrium mental. The oscillation of emotions occurs from cheerfulness, weakness. So the oscillation is present in the natrium mental, as well as this thing is also present in natrium physical. The pains increase and decrease rhythmically. So rhythm is present as the waves go upward and downward in a rhythm. Likewise, the pain is also increase or decrease rhythmically. The tides dependent on the moon show a periodic increase and decrease. The sun too affects the sea. So the salt is taken from the sea. Where tides are present, they are used to be more increased during full moon and no moon. So they are affected from phases of moon. They are affected from sea. Likewise, mental symptom is also aggravated by sun heat. They are also affected by moon phase, like in full moon or no moon, natrium mental is aggravated. In physical, the aggravation is periodic, like full moon and no moon is a periodic event. Likewise, the aggravation is also periodic. The periodicity is very marked in natrium, like same time, like 10 to 11 am is in natrium. So same time or on alternate days, this is present in natrium physical. The sea being deep hides all it, owns its depth, appearing calm and clear from exterior. There is a vast thing in sea. The sea is very vast. There are lots of creatures, lots of plants, lots of things, like the ships used to sink in the sea. There's many things in the sea, but when we see from outside, it looks quite calm. Likewise, the patient buries his deep grief. They suppress all their grief and put a calm exterior. Although the person is very tolerating his grief, they are very worried, but they don't used to show that thing. They look quite calm and cool from outside. Rock salt never melts fully while cooking. So there is a tendency of rock salt that they don't dissolve completely. Likewise, natrium person is also not that much used to mingle with people. They are very private, and in physical there is separation because things are not revealing. So they are quite separation is quite common in natrium. Lycopodium clavatum. It is made from spores. The spores are externally very hard, but once broken, they are very soft internally. Spores are made from sporopollenin, which is very hard, especially to the acids or other chemicals. They are hard from outside, but when it is broken, they are quite soft inside. Likewise, patient initially become non-cooperative with physician, but once he starts believing in the physician, he is very cooperative. Like when there is a case-taking procedure, the patient don't want to explain everything, they are quite hesitating, they don't cooperate with the physician. But when he starts believing that physician, they used to reveal all the complaints slowly when they start to believe that person. Likewise, when the patient delivers lectures, the speech is not fluent initially, but with the progress of time, the patient finishes his lecture well. So when he is a teacher or the politician, an orator, speaker, anybody who is, when who he is delivering a lecture, in starting he is not that much confident, not that much fluent, but as the speech progresses, they used to be quite fluent and finishes their lecture quite well. That is lycopodium. Pulsatilla. The pulsatilla plant has a small, delicate and flexible stem that bends in the wind. The pulsatilla person is similarly gentle, mild and yielding. So the plant of pulsatilla is quite delicate, they are quite soft, quite flexible. The head of pulsatilla flower used to be bent with the drift of air. Just like pulsatilla are quite gentle, they are quite mild, they are quite yielding, they can obey anything easily. That is pulsatilla because the plant is like that. The flower points down away from the sun. In sunflower, the flower faces the sun. In pulsatilla, they avoid sun. They used to be in downward direction away from sun. Similarly, pulsatilla people tend to be shy and timid. So pulsatilla are quite shy. They are timid, taciturn. They don't talk that much. Unlike lachesis, they are very talkative. Pulsatilla don't talk that much. In the first picture, flower drooping downward. The flowers are drooping in downward direction. In other picture, all these flowers are also in a downward direction. So likewise, the pulsatilla female is also very timid or shy. Flowers bloom in open air and it gets its name because its pollen are easily carried by the wind. Pulsatilla is also called wind flower because it blooms in open air and pollination is through air. Like there are many sorts of pollination from insect, from water, from air. In case of pulsatilla, they gets pollinated from air. So air is very important, that's why it is called wind flower. Likewise, patient crave for open air and gets relief from it. The pulsatilla plant grows in cluster and never alone. The plant of pulsatilla used to grow in cluster, in group. Likewise, the pulsatilla person is averse to solitude and desires company. They don't want to be alone, they don't want solitude, they want company, they want group of people. In the second picture, flowers are in form of bunches. They used to grow in bunches. That's why he want to be in bunches, in company of people. Plants grows in sandy soil. The pulsatilla plant used to grow in desert area where sand is abundant. Likewise, pulsatilla ladies are inclined to be with sandy hair. The color of hair is like sand-like in pulsatilla female. Flowers are delicate, so they change their direction with the draft of wind. They are quite delicate. The direction will change with a simple draft of wind. Likewise, pulsatilla patient is sensitive, changeability in symptom and changeable mood. Changeability is very common in pulsatilla, very typical in pulsatilla. Their symptoms are changeable, their mood are changeable. There is a line in Ellen keynote, symptoms ever changing, no two chills, no two stools, no two attacks alike. So two stools are not similar, two attacks are not similar. Very well, one are very miserable the next. Once she is very fine and the next moment she is very miserable. This is pulsatilla, the changeability. The pulsatilla flower is bell shaped like a vase, which is the quintessential jungle symbol for the feminine principle. So Carl Jung used to represent female by bell like flower like a vase, just like pulsatilla is for women considered more than men. Pulsatilla is a women remedy and it is symbolized by the red flower. In the picture, the red flower signifies female. Likewise, pulsatilla flower is also bell shaped. Mainly plant grows in desert where it needs less water to survive because it grows in arid area, dry area. They want less water to survive. That's why it is best suited to thirstless people with dryness in mouth. Pulsatilla lady is very thirstless, there is dryness in mouth. Also, Salacia is a complementary remedy because the sand is abundant in desert where pulsatilla grows. So, it is complementary of pulsatilla. Like in case of belladonna and calcarea. Belladonna used to grow in soil where calcarea is in abundance. That's why calcarea is complementary of belladonna. Likewise, pulsatilla grows in soil where salacia is abundant, sand is abundant. That's why salacia is complementary of pulsatilla. The stem of the flower is covered with hair-like structure to protect it from wind in chilly phase. So the entire plant is covered with hair-like structure to protect from wind. Likewise, the person is sensitive to draft of air and needs covering in open air. Although pulsatilla like open air, she also needs covering in open air because she is very chilly. Covered with hair-like structure. The entire plant is covered by hair-like structure. It may be the flower, it may be the shoot, the stem, everything is just covered with hair-like structure to protect from the wind. Pulsatilla plant has capacity to hold water for longer time due to lack of water in dry places. As it is a desert area, so there is a adaptability like camel, kangaroo rat, cactus. They used to store water. Likewise, pulsatilla has tendency to store water. That's why due to holding tendency, the discharges are thick and blunt for all orifices and parts of body. So that's why the discharge of pulsatilla is quite thick because they used to store the water. Weathercock is an instrument that turns freely with the direction of wind. Weathercock, whenever it indicates the direction of wind. Likewise, pulsatilla symptom is like fickle as a wind and closely related to the term weathercock. There is marked changeability of patient's behavior in erratic fashion, and probably maybe patient is mild and pleasant in 1 minute and peevish and tearful in the next. So changeability is very important. At first they are quite mild, very cheerful, very pleasant, and the next moment she is very irritable, very weeping. And the last one, sepia officinalis, just one slide remained. It is an independent creature. It swims alone rather than in group. So sepia used to swim alone. Likewise, sepia's natural independence sets her apart from other women. She likes to alone. In pulsatilla, they used to grow in bunches. That's why pulsatilla like company and don't like solitude. But in sepia, they used to swim independently. That's why they don't like company. They want solitude, just opposite of pulsatilla. It is a solitary animal. Sepia women can be unsociable and averse to company. She doesn't want to go out. Company aggravates ammunition when alone. Just opposite of pulsatilla, they are not that much social. Limbs or tentacles are always in motion, dancing in water. So the tentacles are always in motion. It seems to appear that they are dancing in water because they like motion. Likewise, the complaints of sepia are aggravated by rest and ameliorated by motion. Like whenever they are in fixed position, in locked position, like kneeling at church, standing for any length, bending over to wash and sitting, the complaints are aggravated. But once they are in active position, like violent exercise, activity, jogging, tennis, swimming or sports thing, they are quite relieved. Like in case of dyspnea, normally when a person is suffering from dyspnea, they will feel better while in rest and their complaint will be aggravated in motion. But in sepia, it is opposite, which is quite contradictory. They are quite better while moving about, dancing, walking rapidly, and that dyspnea will be aggravated by sitting after sleep in room or at rest. Considered as a bad mother, they don't watch their eggs nor defend them against predator or even show any interest in the fate of their young. So sepia don't bother about the eggs that they have, whether they have hatched or not. They don't protect them from the predators. They don't think about the fate, whether they will be young, they will grow older or not. This thing is also present in sepia. They are quite indifferent to their children, to their relatives. So that indifference to children and to loved ones is a keynote of sepia mother, who are known to have this indifference. In Kent's poetry, there is rubric indifference, her children, where sepia is in first grade remedy. Sepia has a great ability to move backward rapidly. Sepia can move backward with the same speed swiftly. Likewise, sepia people are known to have an aversion to company. They avoid and escape from close emotion ties. As they don't want company, they don't want to be with anyone, they don't want any sort of emotional ties, they don't want any sort of relationship from anyone. There is a rubric, dreams, chased and had to run backward. She dreams that someone is chasing her and she just want to run backward or stay away from that person. Here it is single remedy, sepia, single medicine in Kent's poetry. References: J.D. Patil, Textbook of Homoeopathic Materia Medica, first edition. Mandal and Mandal, a textbook of homeopathic pharmacy, 3rd edition, and internet www.wikipedia.com. Thank you for your time.
Yes, nice presentation, very interesting on different modes of studying Materia Medica. And
sir.
everybody can adopt different methodology so that there can be well versed. Time for discussion. Those who would like to participate, please raise your hand. Around 12 medicines discussed, 12 different pictures. Very interesting. So the signature of nature is very important. If anybody like to participate, please raise your hand. You can contribute or you can add some doubts. You can ask something. Yes. Yes. Dr. Ram Pravesh, sir, please, you can unmute now. Yeah. Please unmute.
Thank you, Manoj. Congratulations, Dr. Medi Gupta.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice presentation. Excellent session. Command of medicine. Beautiful describe doctrine of signature. Nature and signature. No change. Drug nature and patient nature. Very beautiful describe. Carbohydrate describe internally hot and cold, lacacy, sepia, pulsatilla. Very, very thanks, Dr. Medi Gupta.
Thank you, sir.
Again, IFPH presentation. Very, very thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ram Pravesh, for listening and participating in discussion. First mentioned about this epismel, the stings of epis is very important. Just like you know that the king Dasharatha felt the words of Kaigeyi as stings of this bee, stinging of birds stings like epis. That may be the reason a lot of medicines are described as female medicines and male medicines more adopted to. For example, in case of this lactasis, you said about this loquacious. You all know that often ladies talk more than men. Just like that, often the adaptability of the medicine is this way. Then you said about this, the carbo, which I think is very interesting, was externally it looks cold, but it is internally it is burning. It's a nice comparison. Then about the colchicum, the seasonal one, that is also very, very interesting. Then the digital is just like the blood spots, why it becomes. So it's very difficult how we can explain it. It's not possible. The science of nature, no science is ever able to keep or explain what is the reason behind all the signature, the science, why the nature gave such signs. That is why we homeopathy always capitalize on that. The facial expression, the constitution, how they walks, how they sits, how they lies, how they sleeps. All these are important homeopathy because it accepts nature. We cannot trespass, we can bypass, but we can follow it. For the sake of humanity, that's the most important. Dr. Tanesh is there, our coordinator, doing all this wonderful work for the last 1,400 days. Dr. Tanesh, please.
Thank you for this. One screen from what are the things there and what are the abilities for these things to deliver, and that is what you looked into all the cases, all the medicines, and you covered all those things in a beautiful way.
Thank you, sir.
Really, there are certain things in the nature which we cannot find out, but once you find the real thing in the nature, you will be able to find the solution to. You can utilize these things for the solution for making the patient back to health, and that's what Dr. Hahnemann observed all those things from the nature, and he developed such a beautiful system called homeopathy, and we are able to win our bread and butter, as well as making more patients easy cure, early cure, and bringing them back to health, and not simply suppressing the ailments. all those things were really beautiful things that we can do with homeopathy. Anyway, you really deserve special kudos for selecting such a beautiful subject. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I think the 12 medicines in 40 minutes. That is not a good equation, I think. We have to
That's
proceed
great. That's
with
great.
flow. Yes. So we have
Yes.
to learn a lot. So we have need more discussion. So that is why I think only 5 or 6 medicines is should be include such sessions so that it can be absorbed. You know that the Anschutz law, minimum dose stimulates, median dose paralyzes, none dose kills. That's often happens because
Okay,
it
sir.
is beyond the scope of our brain. This homeopathy Materia Medica is a wonderful subject. The ordinary brain cannot assimilate it. That's a long problem homeopathy faces. Otherwise, there is no problem. So I am invited Dr. Ram Barveshra to express a lot of thanks to our young genius, Dr. Vaidehi Gupta. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, oh. Uh, thank you, Medi Gupta. Very nice. Beautiful describe doctrine of signature.
Thank you,
No
sir.
change of nature and signature. Carbo-veg medicine, just like carbo-veg, a medicine tree, yang wood, like, half of IFPH. Very, very thanks. Thank you, Manoj ji. Thank you, Dr. Danesh ji.
Okay. You know that yat bhavo tat bhavati. What do you are, what do you believe, what do you think, what it looks. There is some similarity because this power and the action. Yat bhava tat bhavati. You can prove once again with homeopathy because it's a nature's law. The remark, let me conclude today's English edition. Hope you that we will be back again tomorrow. Till then, goodbye, and Dr. Mariam Ajon to continue the program in Malayalam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. वाह, बहुत अच्छा, बहुत
Thank you, sir.
नन्ही मनोज डॉक्टर